welcome to Silverrun Forest Farm. We're back here with Jake. As you can see, he started the clearing on this field, so we're just making some logs to fill another container and generate a little bit of cash. All he's really waiting for this morning is, you'll remember from last time that we were cultivating the barley fields, and so that's very much continuing. It's probably about 50% done. He got a worker started on that a little while ago, and so while he's waiting, really, we're just processing a few logs here that we'll be able to put in our trailer over there shortly, and that's going pretty well. Whoops, let's go the other direction, pick you up a little bit, and if we get a good stack here, we can get a bit of cash in. Things are kind of organized pretty well in sequence, so we need to get the seed in the barley field today so that that's all up and going, because next month, we're in the back half of September, next month harvest will start in earnest on the cornfields, the two cornfields that we've got, and somewhere around the same time the sugar beet should also be ready for processing. So there's a fair bit of activity there, and oops, let's try bringing it the correct direction. We also, in order to have somewhere to put the corn, we're going to need a silo complex, which of course is going to need some money. So with that in mind, he's made a bit of a decision on where to put that. So we'll have a look as we head down. Oh, and we need to buy a corn header as well. So quite a few things to do. Oops, that's the wrong. Okay, there we go. So just pop you down there. Tilt you forward a little bit. Get you underneath. That's it. Down with those. We should be able to now pick up a couple. Go and get them over into the trailer. Or into the container, I should say. So we'll go and check on the work that's going on over there shortly. Let's put that head in the right spot. There we go. Moving the whole pile. That's what we want. Once they slide under, they pick up just nicely, and we can judge the angle correctly. Just get them straight in the back of the trailer. Let's see if we can get that little guy there that's been in the way. There we go. Well, that's probably right on our limits. But nonetheless, we got them up. And in we go. So it doesn't take too long to fill the trailer up. The other thing that we'll do today while we've got the cedar out, that was the wrong length, is seed the little bit of grass field that we cut that was ploughed a couple of episodes ago. Let's pop you down a little bit better. And up. That won't be ready, that won't grow ready for cut again this year, but that'll put us in good shape for the new year. Next month also, our fermenting, I don't think it'll finish today, so our sausage silo is around about 83% done. And come on. Which way are we gonna get you? Hopefully this might go pretty close to filling it. One more maybe. Let's get that filtered down. And there we go. Oh, we've got the biggest pile we've picked up. And of course, we won't be able to fit them all in, but never mind. Obviously, there was a short one sitting in the front there. Not too worried about those. And we're full. So that was pretty successful. So that's available to us when we need to go down and sell now, which is always handy. You can see there's a lot of timber left on this field, so we'll continue to process these logs as we have the time. But for now, let's go and find out how our field that we're going to be seeding is progressing. This section on the right here is the bit that we need to grass, and there's just a little bit of ploughing to finish up in order to be able to do that. So we'll take care of that at some stage during the day. This grass here probably won't grow enough to be cut again this year. There's our silage snake, and as I think I said, pretty sure it's down to nearing the end. There you go, 86% fermented. So if we get a chance to load it and sell the silage today, we'll take it. Now, interestingly, in terms of thinking of the silo, there weren't any nominations at the end of the last episode as to where to put it. There were lots of options, and it suddenly occurred to Jake, as he's been driving backwards and forwards, that this little triangle of land here between the line and the road is actually part of the farm. And it's something that's quite central. So if we have a look at the farmland here, we own all the way up to the road. We just forget because of the rail reservations. So what he's thinking is that if we put a silo complex on the corner here, this would be really central. We'd fence it to give it some security, but probably something along... He's been researching older style silos and potentially something along... Where are we here? Something along these sort of lines might fit in nicely. So there's a few options that are probably affordable along those sort of lines, and will fit quite nicely on this end spot. So that's kind of what he's got in mind. Need a little bit of cash, but as soon as we've got that organised, something like this just felt like it was a little bit big for the area. And he didn't want to have to mess with an auger. So over here is something where the auger setup is built into the silo is probably the trick. So there's a couple of options that would fit right in and would also provide the means to expand when we need to. And as you can see, by placing a silo on there, there's plenty of room, so it would provide enough room for a shed and some trailer storage as well. So that's looking like a good spot. Just looking here, it's looking like our timing's pretty good. We might just leave the ute here and go and take over from the worker, and then we can run across and finish off the ploughing on the other field. How are we going here? This looks like we're all done, I think. Let's just have a look at the overhead of the field. There's nothing needs ploughing there. So we're ready to seed, I think. Cultivated is the center section, so we've got plenty of area. So we just need to mark out our field and get some seed in. So what we'll do is run back. We'll just run down here and check that the edge was done. Not quite. By the looks. That's the last little bit. Corn's looking terrific there, getting very close to being able to harvest that. We ran up that edge the other day, so that all looks terrific. Just feel when you see that weed, well, a couple of weeds sticking out there, that if you could just run out and pull them yourself, that's the way to go. But unfortunately no means of doing that, so never mind. Jake did investigate whether or not he could lease some of the land in there where the logs are, because that area, or at least a small part of it, would be ideal for putting a silo down, but alas, hasn't been able to find a way to do that. Just drop the cultivator off here. And run down and pick up our plough and just finish off those couple of little bits, and then we'll go up and get a seeder organised. Hasn't really decided on long-term future of this end of the field, so just we'll just make it grass for the minute. That way we're in no danger of running out of any feed for the animals. Oops. Let's turn on create field. And there we go. It's all sorted. There's a rock there, which probably don't want to be incorporating. And we don't have the rock picker, the rock breaker handy at the moment, so we'll just make do with the area that we've got, I think. But getting that silo in will be a good step kind of the next stage in development of the farm, really. We will need somewhere to put the sugar beet also, and we might put a proper root crop storage facility in something where we can store them on the floor with the conveyor potentially. Just one little spot there, I think. And that's that job done. Let's just drive up here and make sure we haven't missed any other obvious spots. It looks like we've got a little clump right in the middle there. And that's pretty much it for this edge. I think there was a funny little curve on this edge too. We could probably pick up. Just a little bit closer. That'll do us. Just made this grass field look just that little bit bigger. So we can take this back up and grab the seeder now. Now I'm thinking we'll do the seeding with the new Kubota, or our second-hand Kubota. I think that'll do quite a good job. A few less hours on, less horsepower, so it should be a bit more efficient to run. Just a whisker. Need a little more seed in here, but we've got some over in our little storage container, so we'll run over there and fill before we go down. just by a scoop on the top there, we should be able to scoop it out of the bag into the... There we go. So what we might do is plant the grass first. We've got a little more in there. We'll plant the grass first and then duck over to the barley fields. I reckon 2,000 litres will go pretty close. Might be a fraction short on the barley field, but we can come down with the ute and top it up if need be. This little strip here and then run across and a couple of lengths on the other side, and this task will be done. Around the edge there. Reseeding a little bit off the field as we go past, but nothing to worry about. One of the things that Jake's been pondering as he sort of looks ahead to next year, we're expecting a reasonable volume of sugar beet, and if we have a look in terms of options on the map for sugar beet, really there's only the market, and price range there is pretty small. So the question is, what other opportunities exist to develop some markets for the sugar beet? He's not really keen to set up a pig operation, for instance, but he's aware there's a few things that sugar beet can be used for. Where are we going to find a spot to turn here and not cleaned up by the train? So it's just a question of figuring those choices out. Given that we already produce, or are now producing, a little bit of silage, there's no obvious biogas facility in this region, so perhaps there's a chance to do a deal with somebody locally to perhaps set something up. You know, a bit of a supplemental facility. So there's still some quite a lot of research to do. He's not got any sort of a fixed idea, but along the same lines as you know, he invested in the little firewood business. Maybe there's a small scale operation that could be established that would create a market, for an alternative market for his silage and his sugar beet, and that would increase the value of both. So not sure that he's quite at the level where he can run to heading full on into the sugar business, but if somebody else was to come to town and set up some sugar processing, maybe that would be an option. For now, that doesn't seem likely, although there's plenty of spaces around once you start to look where factories could come, and the area is definitely opening up. People are talking about some of the things that Jake's been doing. The redwood forests are protected, but the spruce and lodgepole pine forests are a fair game. There hasn't been much activity at the paper mill, we noticed, but it's kind of round over the back of that hill. You can see it from the area where we put the sugar beet in. We're going to get round there. We're just about got this sorted. Couple of funny textures where the old meets the new. As you can see from the cedar, we haven't used much grass seed getting this done, so there's plenty there for the barley. It's just a little bit there. Any luck, one more trip up will finish off all the spots. And then we can go and get organised on the barley field. Just that little tip at the end there. Okay. After this car, we'll head round to our barley field. Now, the first thing we need to do on the barley field is mark out the perimeter of the new field, so that when we get workers involved, they know what they're dealing with. So we'll do that first. Now, the area that we've ploughed out and added on stands out fairly clearly on the mini-map. So what we can do, if we get out of the tractor here and we go into the worker menu, let's zoom in here, we can see the extents of our bigger field laid out here, and we've got an option because we've got course play on. So I am playing on PC, so this is a course play feature. if we draw the custom field, we get this option to draw with right click. So if I start in the corner right here and zooming it in as far as it'll go, it just helps with the precision. So I put a right click there and I get a dot. I come all the way down here and I get another dot. So now I can just continue around the perimeter of my field, and I can use as many dots as I like. And it'll give me a line which represents the boundary. Like so. Now I could also drive around in a vehicle and achieve the same thing using course play to record. But I find this is much quicker and gives me the result I want. It's now going to give me the recorded course. And so we could give it a different name. So let's call it bigger. Oops. Bigger field 2. Very imaginative. If anyone in the chat wants to, or in the comments, put in a suggested name, that'd be great. Now then the next thing we can do is if we go into edit, you'll see now that we've got all of these waypoints that represent the edge of the field showing. And so we can move around here, and if our line's not quite where we want it, we can adjust it. So you can see here, for example, if we go into advanced and do the multiple selection, we can get our cursor over there and right click. No, let's try left click and it'll go pink. And we can come up here and to say here, and we do the same thing and hold down the left click button, and we can move that whole line out to the edge like so. We can come up again. We could have gone further, but we might have wanted this section adjusted separately. So just, if you can't quite see there, so what I'm doing is under the base highlights the top, and then I hit the left click, right click to clear it, left click to set my new one, and then I come up here to wherever the one I want is and move them all across by holding down my left click button. So that's that bit there. If we go back into basic, then I'm doing single ones. That looks pretty good down there. This line across the bottom is probably close enough for me. Around the edge here looks pretty good. Along this edge, we did a lot better job of guessing where the edge of the field is. A couple there that we could move out just a whisker. Just hold it under the base until the top of the... I'm just using the left mouse button to move these individually. When the top changes colour, I know I'm in the right spot. It's not always right at the base. A little bit of variation sometimes. There we go. Couple more here we could do. Just to adjust it to get it how we want. And you can edit these field boundaries at any stage if you're not getting the results you wanted. That one looks like we're a little bit outside there, so we might go into the multiples mode again. And just from there, so right click to clear it and left click to select it. Now hold my left mouse button and just move them all in just a whisker. That looks a bit better. And just here, right click to clear it, left click to select it, and hold left mouse button just to move it into the spot that I want. So there we go, our field is defined, and so now when we come in here, we want to change from grass to barley, so that'll be, turn off the, so there's our barley selected, just check, yes, and we want to go in here to course play, create a job. We can now see our bigger field 2 comes up. Course play field work. We want this target position. We'll be back here. Field position. It's selected our bigger fields. Start at the first waypoint. That work width looks right. For only one, we'll do 3 headlands with this piece of equipment, but we'll start in the center because we're seeding. Let's do sharp, smooth corners, or sharp corners a bit neater. Headlands clockwise, less overlap. And that'll be good. So let's generate a course. Yep. That looks pretty good. We'll leave it with the automatic angle that it's chosen, and it actually wants the start point on the other side of the field. So we'll drive over there. And off we go. Let's try. Again. First waypoint will be better. And now it's off and running. So we're seeding. Beautiful. That'll work quite nicely. So what we might do now is take our load of timber up and sell it while that's getting underway with seeding, and we'll come back and potentially take over a little bit later on. And turn up here to zip up to the container terminal and see what Stumpy's boys can do for us today. Oh, that was a bit of a crash. Love these guys that turn right in front of trucks but then stop for the pedestrians. If you haven't been with us before, Stumpy Morgan's the bloke that runs the sawmill, the container terminal up by the sawmill. He's been a bit of a friend of Jake's since he arrived in the area, so bit of a local character, strong as an ox. Whatever the case, his boys are pretty efficient at unloading containers off the back of the truck, that's for sure. We'll just duck in here. And zoom through. And there you go. Quick as you know it, there's 50,700 for the wood and another 4,600 for our environmental score. So good top up to the coffers. enough to get us another container. But also potentially we can put down one of those silos in the spot that Jake was looking at. And the advantage of doing that is we can then get the grain out of the harvester and out of the trailers so that we're all set to get the corn happening next time. Jake might drop in and grab a fresh container from Eddie's and we'll catch up with him down where he directs the guys how he wants the silo complex set up. Just while we're here, we'll check our silage fermenting, 91%. So that probably is not going to be ready to do anything with today. We probably should move the ute out of the way of the guys that need to put the silo in. Now, let's see. So if we have a look here, kind of thinking this silo seems to be the go. And we might want to flatten some land a little bit in here so that we get the result we're looking for. This guy here. Now we want the drop. We want an easy road into the drop and then a too bad turn out of the, where do we put it? I think we put it a little bit on the angle like so. It's not going to do much dramatic to the which way? I want it that way. We drive round it to drop. That might be easier. We put the road around it. Let's pop it like so. And now we can. There's a good pad there. We can build a road out. We don't get many textures, do we? Don't even get a basic concrete. Bit disappointing, giants. Never mind. Let's finish you out like so. I think we'll bring you out this way. Now, we might use it a little in order to get a sense of how it needs to be paved. But at this stage, thinking and of course we can take some of the trees off if we need to. For now, that gives us pretty clear in and out. There's room to turn around the back there. And then the other thing that's required is a little bit of fencing. So what have we got here? Decoration, fences. Facility like this would have at least a cyclone wire fence, which why can't I see one? Here we go. That's the one we want. We bring a fence. Let's sort of gate out afterwards. And I think we'll fence it. Try it from this side. That's better. Now I've just noticed that the fencing wasn't charging. That would tend to suggest I've got a mod on that eliminates the fence price, which was not intentional. So we'll count those sections up and deduct those funds afterwards. Because whilst he uses Buff's mate, Jake uses Buff's mate to help him with the fencing, it's not free. So there we go. We've got our facility. So now we can, looks like our cedar is blocked. We just got caught turning on the tree here. So I could have done with another headland by the sounds of it. Maybe 4 headlands would have been the right choice. Nearest waypoint and start you off there. You go again. So let's duck up and put the first load of crop into our silo. Because the other thing we need to do is Jake noticed that whilst the horses have plenty of food, they are getting a little low on oats, and so we need to move some oats. So one of the things we can do here with our little gravity wagon here is transfer some oats from the silo at the riding school into their feed. We can't play this with the ute. Well, that won't work. Okay, we need a tractor. Let's drop the soil tester back in the shed, or in the workshop where we tend to keep it. We now have our Parker gravity wagon, so we can run this down to the silo. Now let's see how we go. The inaugural load into the silo. Plenty of room to get in the gate with this combination on. It's very smart there. And we can drop our barley straight in. Can take the kipper down afterwards. Now let's get the Gleaner emptied out so that that's all ready to go for the corn harvest next time. Oh, there it is. So the easiest way to top up the oats will be with the skid steer with the bucket, I think, rather than try with the trailer. Now we just need to check where the trigger is on the stable. I think it's round there, yes. I've got 1,000 litres in here, so if we put this in and then grab another bucket full, just drop that on the floor out of the auger. That should do that trick there. Just see how full that made the trigger. Guess where this needs to be. Would extends the auger out, but it might be just as easy to drop it on the floor. So base food need about 1,800 litres. So let's see here. On implements. That'll be plenty. You up. There we go, 1,200. That'll do the job. And that'll be the horses set for another little while. Over the top there. All done. And that's about the right ratio now, so while we're here we might as well pop another hay bale around the side, because when we looked before they were out. And check back on our cedar. But I'm thinking we might get him back next time. Even though it's not marked here, this trigger for hay is round here. There we go. Rightio, so we'll turn our triggers off. So our seeding is going to finish off next time. But for now, we'll leave it here. And thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you soon. See ya.